right, welcome back to Two Song Podcast. This is Chris.
And this is Cam.
And this is a show where we try and sort every song ever into one of two categories. Either a love song.
Or a fight song.
Yep, that's right.
And this is episode 104 of our show.
Dang, yeah. And the song for this episode is About Damn Time by Lizzo. It is a brand new single. The time of recording this, it's not even a month old. Came out in April 14th of 2022.
Yeah.
So it's new, but not brand new. But it doesn't really matter with Lizzo. Honestly, like ever since her first couple of big hits, I don't know who to compare it to, but she's like the new pop star that the fans don't care what it is.
Yeah. She's everywhere. Everything she does, everywhere.
Yeah. But it's good, I'll say in her defense, it's all really good. And her fans are also obsessed. So.
Yeah. So it's like justified. Reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know, as reasonable as fans can be. I guess kind of the word fanatic is a little unhinged.
Yeah.
Although I think less so. Like I think it's used more commonly to just be like, yeah, everybody that likes this artist or this thing.
Yeah. Well, what about that intro? It's like just jumps in with like this like super funky like bass line. You know, that person's just like abusing the bass.
Yeah.
It's awesome though.
It's so good. And right before that, I assume it's Lizzo just kind of screams, but she's like across the room from the mic or something.
Yeah.
Because it's so quiet and it makes me want to like turn it up, and then it's just like just an explosion of sound.
Yeah.
With that bass, like you said.
Yeah, the music behind this whole song is really funky and really fun.
Yeah, seriously.
It's good stuff.
You know, people say all kinds of songs slap. It's like a thing. But I feel like it applies more when there's like a similarly funky bass line.
Yes. Like that's a technique. That person is slapping the bass, so it doesn't not work here. It's like, yeah. Finally, it's earned. Dang, cool.
And kind of a quick intro.
Yeah, really pretty short actually.
About 10 seconds.
Yeah. And then right into the verse.
Yeah, let's get right into it.
Cool. What a great opening line and what a like fun, confident verse.
Yeah, for real. And the bass does not chill out.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, it doesn't.
And there's a couple parts in my opinion in the bass line that are a little bit more prominent and like maybe because they're less bassy, they're kind of like up on the neck a little bit. But in the verse, there's also he's all over the neck and just really killing it.
A lot of low end in the verse,
Yeah.
like moving these really deep notes to like support the whole mix.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Thank you.
Although I am confused about what time it is because there's conflicting.
Yeah, either it's on the hour or it's half past the hour. That's not fair. Yeah,
No, yeah. I guess Lizzo couldn't pick one. Yeah, she just liked both of those time-based declarations equally.
I had a professor once who one time in a night class he goes, "Oh gosh, well if that's all, maybe we should leave. I mean, after all, it is beer 30." And I kind of chuckled. I was like, "Oh wow!" Just because I was a college kid, I never heard that old tired street joke before. And then someone goes, "Yeah, it's about late o'clock," and I thought, same thing as here. Like, well, is it in between an hour or is it on an o'clock?
Yeah, because you can't say it's 9:30 o'clock.
You're right. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
True.
You're not supposed to. Yeah, I guess you can, but you shouldn't.
But you know how we've talked about certain songs like Roses, for example, where they use that word, the B word, over and over and over again, and it's like, whoa, you're like almost using it so much it doesn't have as much effect anymore. I think Lizzo's use of it is the opposite. It's like, and the idea of a bad bitch has been a good thing for a while now. In some circles, it's like to be desired or a goal or like a nickname you want. And I think it's funny to use it right off so that people know like using that word on me has no power because it's actually a good thing. I'm trying to like make it a compliment to myself.
Yeah. And I think like you're saying, before Lizzo was popular, it was kind of becoming a thing, but she has certainly owned it. Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. I was thinking about a lot of the things she describes herself as, and she's really leaning into that, like confident, sex positive, body positive, and like she leans into that persona, but then also it's okay being vulnerable. Like we'll see in the second verse, she describes like some of the things she like needs and desires, but for the most part, her outward like, you know, celebrity persona is, don't worry about it. You don't worry about it because I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I love it so much. I will say it has been interesting. I mean, this song slaps, but it's been interesting, like riding around and listening to it in the past past day or so.
Yeah.
Just because it's, you know, it's for bad bitches, and you know, of which I am not. But it kind of, I mean, you know, I'd be feeling it. I'd be feeling myself.
I bet. Yeah, this kind of music will do that to you.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And I've seen Lizzo live twice, and it's an experience.
Wow.
And it's in her live performances, she leans into the bad bitch like title a lot too. She deemed us all bad bitches.
Wow.
Just
Cool.
for like being there and like enjoying her performance, like being there with her and all. But I saw her at Midtown and then again at Bonnaroo, and it was a very powerful performance and very impressive, and she is a force to be reckoned with. Like it was incredible. She's quite a performer.
Cool. Yeah, the music video for this is just dancing nonstop, which is cool.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Because it kind of like reminds me of like the original pop stars, like 80s pop stars, where it was like a whole, you have to be able to sing, you have to be able to dance, you have to be able to choreograph your own dance for the most part.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. Man, that's neat. I didn't know or guess remember that you've seen her twice. Or at all. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, she like really takes her time with this song. I was looking at the structure of its verse, and then this thing that some people would write and be like, done, chorus, but it's not really. And then she gives us the chorus, which is cool. We got a true pre-chorus, which I think is getting more and more rare.
Yeah, cool. Interesting you said she like takes her time. I think that is true, but the first verse goes pretty quick too. It's like intro verse, and then maybe you kind of get settled into it and all.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's do that.
Interesting. How about this? A little foreshadowing that she uses that slur, that nickname, or that disrespectful term in the first verse in a good way. But then whoever the antagonist of the song is, she like declares to them, you know, while using that word.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like anyone who's doubting that, like or doubting me, you know, I might be better.
Yeah.
That is interesting. And it is. I do think often a lot. I do often think how interesting it is that we use curse words for so many different meanings. Like I've heard people suggest that if you use curse words in your vocabulary a lot, that you're lacking intelligence.
Go on.
But I think they can be used creatively and like smartly.
Yeah. Like if you're Eddie Murphy or someone of that, like Eddie Murphy or Chris Rock or Louis C.K., if you're up to that level, I would grant that. But I've heard of creative writing, people setting rules and limits like you're writing me something 10 pages, it means you get one profane word.
Oh, wow.
And then people are like, well, but that's how people talk. And the argument's like, well, exactly, this is an exercise. Try and do it without doing that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people use it as a crutch, and I think usually people that are given to profane words every time they open their mouth have convinced themselves they have big thoughts in their heads, and when they in fact do not. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But you're right. I do think any word, whether it's a swear word or whether it's a double negative or triple negative, I sometimes will allude to that. Like, it can be used for dramatic effect or for the desired effect, whether some people be turned off by it or not. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
We kind of talked about how like any tool that you can use, specifically we talk about in music, can be used well.
Yeah.
You know, in small doses or if used cleverly. But it's similar to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. Dang, yeah. How about this though? Like she's kind of confident and halfway between singing and rapping the verse. In the pre-chorus, she takes off singing. Like it sounds like a violin or a flute or like some instrument that we think of as being really high up and really like playing like a flighty kind of part, but she's like singing it, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Like the "Oh, I've been so down under pressure" part, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool contrast to the verse that we just heard.
Yeah, it is. But it's really just like a stepping stone to the next part, to this chorus.
Yeah. And before we get to that, I just want to say how much I relate to "I'm way too fine to be this stressed."
Jeez.
Love that so much. All right, here we go.
Man, I like that chorus.
Yeah. Yeah, like kind of like you alluded to, the pre-chorus could be a chorus for some people, but then you get this, and the song gets really fun.
Yeah, there's all kinds of extra parts in there, like little bouncy, like twisty parts. It remind me kind of maybe the keyboard part from The Hustle, like the old classic tune, or maybe like even 80s pop. Like the Australian band, they had like two big hits, Men at Work. You know how they had all those like weird synthesizer riffy parts and be like weird. Synthesizer players, like I don't play chords. That's my one rule. I do fun stuff. I do like stuff that like is really catchy, gets stuck in your head. There's some of that, especially like the second turn of the music, Let's Celebrate Alright. There's like this weird windy part going to that. Every time it comes, I listen for it.
Yeah, it kind of pushes the limits of like chaotic.
Yeah.
For me, like there's a lot going on.
There's ad-libs and like echoes and stuff. Yeah.
And the bass is doing more than I've heard a bass do in almost any other song.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna keep talking about that, but
yeah,
so much.
Yeah, so far, it's like a typical A, B, C section. And then with them alternating, like the confidence from the first verse and the confidence and the perseverance from the chorus. You know, like I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty is a great line for the first verse. And then in the chorus, I got a feeling I'm gonna be all right. Okay, all right. But then the pre-chorus in between there is like, well, I don't want it to be all confidence all the time. Like I want you to know that I'm considering that this is like where I come from, that I am under pressure, that I've, I'm about to feel stressed and have to remind myself not to and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just really cool, and like really, you said vulnerable earlier, but just like realistic to kind of go back and forth.
Yeah. Cause I'll admit that I know plenty of people, and perhaps I'm one of those people that are like that can almost like think and feel two things at once or be two people at once. And I say that I don't think everyone's like that. I think some people are anxious and insecure all the time, but the majority of the time, or confident, or I don't think about those things most of the time. But Lizzo is like going after some people in the middle of that Venn diagram of like, my feelings or thoughts fluctuate, or my mind and anxious thoughts is so powerful that it can really affect my mood.
Yeah, despite the confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a neat market or like section of the population to go after.
Yeah.
I think that's more people than people on the polar sides, like the opposite sides, realize.
Yeah.
You know?
I thought you were gonna say more people than than are not that way, but I guess it's impossible to say.
Yeah, it's impossible to say. I think about stuff like that a lot though. Like, how do you know what someone else knows, and how do you know that that's the same thing? You know, weird stuff like that. So you're right. It'd be hard to find out. Like, All right, put one for the always confident people. Tally another one in.
Yeah. And you just have to take them at their word, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and wow, we've gone down a rabbit hole, but I feel like a lot of like psychology and studies like that are just surveys too. It's just like these are what people told us about how they think and feel.
Yep. I know.
Well, verse 2 is my favorite verse.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, just so the way it is delivered, and the way the words fit together, it's just so satisfying.
Yeah, very satisfying. Yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
Man.
Wow. Do you also get that reference to the shoes that I think she's talking about? Dang.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Balenciagas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fancy stuff you got going on there, bro.
No, I don't have it going on, but I don't know how. I'm just aware, connected. I'll just see it and be like, I gotta know what that is. I'll look and find out what it is. Like, great.
Cool. But yeah, just it just jumps right into that verse.
Mm-hmm.
Like with some of the confidence that we've been talking about, she carries with her everywhere. At least, in the public persona, and her performances and her art.
Yeah, I love the way it starts, and we broke it up, but it goes right after the chorus, like a millisecond after the chorus. It starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those we talk about a lot where the syllables maybe have never been put together in that way before.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that makes it so great. Like, they just line up so nicely. I don't know, it's like perfection. It's the rhythm and the shapes and the rhymes, the way it just like comes out, it falls out of her mouth is so nice.
Yeah. And I think In a Minute, I'm Anita Sentimental. It's just a great example of that. Like, starting the verse off, which is full of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
The way she references those shoes that I'm not even going to try to say, also just rolls off this tongue in such a satisfying way.
Yeah, but because it's so cool to also convey like a familiarity with him. To be like, oh, I call him by a nickname. Like, you had to Google like Balenciaga. I call him Balenciennes. It's so cool to me. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And I guess it kind of that, but it also does go with feeling fussy. Like, it kind of like is a little bit of a slant rhyme, an inline rhyme to that.
Yeah. But then it kind of switches away from the confidence a little bit, because she cares way too much, and not as many words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but to me, this part about I'm gonna need like 2 shots in my cup kind of goes with the very first line. I'm gonna need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
Wow.
So I think it's more of the same, like up and down, like weaving back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but perhaps that's the secret, like hack of people that have mastered a confidence and a comfort in their own skin is like, I know what things I can rely on, what things I can lean on. So friends or loved ones or romantic partners or
2 shots
or like treating myself to expensive stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you noticed that, because I noticed that too. It was like, you don't care, but then you need these like things to give you courage, I guess.
Right.
But overall, it's awesome. Like, that part of the song probably is most people's favorite part.
Yeah. Yeah, she should be super proud of that verse. Very impressive. And then it's cool, like, want to get up, want to get down, because I think too much about whether I should say that if I'm down or up for something, because they mean the same thing, and sometimes that's infuriating, and sometimes it's interesting.
Yeah.
And so it's just cool to me that she's kind of playing with that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And at the very end, she says, "That's how I feel right now." It's so cool.
I know, just like all that's going on. That's how I feel right now.
Mm-hmm. And to admit, like, it's fleeting, it might change. It may change, like, really quickly, the next minute or next few seconds.
Yeah, just that freaking awesome verse is how Lizzo feels right now.
Mm-hmm.
And probably anyone that listens to this song.
Jeez, yeah.
Oh man! All right, do we want to combine the pre-chorus chorus this time?
Yeah, because I think they're the same as before.
Yeah,
and they flow nicely together.
Cool.
Cool. I like hearing it all together like that. But like you mentioned the first time we heard the chorus, it is chaotic. Like I'm picking out more and more stuff every time that I hear it.
Yeah. Supposedly there's a like an echo of time that I don't pick up, that I just don't hear, because there's like a keyboard slide and something else happening right there.
Yeah. I don't hear that. I don't hear that either. Actually, that is on the lyrics, but I don't. There's too much other stuff.
Yeah.
To me, this song is an example of like great production where you can listen to it and like your ears will hear, but you almost like somewhere in your body, it's hard to explain, feel like certain hits too.
Yeah.
Like all the accents, like the hooks, the title, there's like percussion and horns or synthesized horns, like punching all the syllables. And it's really accentuated, which is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet this one is really fun live.
Yeah, it'll have to be.
Yeah.
Because I assume that that's something that people, like I said, feel and they hear it, but they don't even think about it, especially live. Because you expect live music to be loud and you be able to feel it and it'd be like right on the edge of too loud. And there's like visually stimulating stuff. So you're like, yeah, it's got to be one that you're like, whoa, what just happened to me? I love the way that felt and sounded, but it was like, I don't know why.
Yeah. And I remember feeling that for a lot of her songs at her show. Just
cool.
Like, what are we doing? What is happening to all of us right now?
Wow.
It was an experience, seriously.
Dang. That's awesome. And I think maybe part of the reason I was saying earlier that she takes her time is like the lyrics to me seem so deliberately crafted. But then also this song, like it has for about the last minute, kind of like a winding down, kind of like a bringing down the energy in just a section that's like more loose and free than the other parts.
Yeah. And I think you said that after the pre-chorus, maybe the chorus, but either way, the pre-chorus definitely kind of like, although happened in a short period of time, the first 45 seconds or so, that's the part that she sings and kind of like spaces out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that.
What's kind of tricky from here, it's an extended bridge, kind of like a jam, but for the singers. Wow. That's a long piece. Like,
yeah, for a bridge, that's very long.
And it's almost like chanty. Like there have been songs talking about stuff like I'm coming out, multiple meanings to that exact phrase. But this one's just like, I don't know, almost hypnotic. Like the first one's a little bit longer than the second one. Like the rhythm and like how long she takes to say them. So it feels like a rhythm that is really hard to get maybe, and then the second you get it, it's like, uh-oh. It's like I said, hypnotizing. It's like really catchy. Too catchy almost.
Yeah. It does further confuse the time. Because I was already a little confused, but like, I feel like I figured out what time it was.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what time it is.
Yeah. I wonder if it was just a bunch of things like fun ideas around time, and it was kind of meant to be like a song you would put on any time almost. So it was like, why don't we just like kind of loosely relate a bunch of ideas related to time
Yeah.
into the song.
Yeah, and it's saying more than once that it's about damn time.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's what time it is. But I'm still not sure. Still figuring it out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of things happening vocally for this where it seems like they're just it's time to have fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Because the instrumentation, although still like pretty loud in the mix and bombastic and interesting, the bass is still popping off. Is kind of subdued compared to some other parts of the song, and it's a little bit more repetitive and just like kind of letting the singers do their thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's similar to other parts of the song where it's like double. So if the chorus is really the same thing twice, this bridge is kind of similar to the chorus in that it does that. It's the same section just repeated.
Yeah.
And then we just have, I think the last little section is kind of like another bridge, like a second bridge, but it just uses it to like get out of the song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wind things down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Neat. It's a perfect outro to the song, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I like everybody like kind of cheering and celebrating.
Yeah.
At the end, and her being like the loudest one. I think it's so fitting.
Like they were having fun in the studio.
Yeah.
And just like caught that and was like, this needs to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
To show the people the vibe.
Yeah. And like the very first thing, the outro, the O, the really high pitched O, just like wailing. Because she does have an impressive range. Like she has, it's strange, like before I ever saw what she looked like, I could picture her because of like the rapping, singing kind of voice she has.
Yeah.
She just has like I don't know, you just imagine like a well-formed like singing throat and neck. But then I don't necessarily picture her being able to have those like falsettos like that. Like sometimes her falsetto reminds me of the part in Shrek where the princess is trying to like sing back and forth with the bird and she sings too high.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I'm just like, wow, she's got like an awesome range. She can sing every note there is.
Yeah. She's like an opera singer. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I meant to mention it actually a couple times now. And I'm kind of glad I didn't because it gets most prominent, before the bridge, and then comes back up right before the outro with that like flute, like very woody sounding flute. That shows up a few times. That's very interesting for a pop song. Very unusual.
Yeah, but isn't she a flautist? Like, isn't that one of her instruments or her main instrument?
Yeah.
Besides singing. So yeah, I mean, there've been like little times here and there where the saxophone will kind of creep up into pop music very briefly.
Oh yeah.
And it's just always weird to see. It makes sense. It always sounds cool. It's like, yeah, it should be more music. It sounds so good. But I agree with you. The flute is not one that's usually featured in that way that you hear.
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee you there's flutes in songs we don't really hear them or think about them. But yeah, this is like, is that a flute taking a solo?
Yeah. Is it just me or does it sound like not like a regular flute? Like it sounds like wooden.
Like a pan flute, or
Yeah.
like the ones that are all of the length ones.
Yeah, yeah. I almost said pan flute, but I didn't know for sure if that's a thing.
Yeah.
Does it just sound pretty normal to you? Like it could be a flute.
I don't know. Maybe it does kind of sound like a pan flute. But then that would make me think it would have to be, unless she plays them all, like another musician playing it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Nice. Well, that's the song.
Yeah, what a cool song.
Yeah, seriously. It's seriously been so much fun to listen to. And I was familiar with it before, but I never like sat down and thought about it and put it on repeat and all. I'm glad that we have.
Yeah, me too. Well, Does that mean you want to go first, or do you feel like I should go first?
I could.
Okay, I'll go first.
So I mentioned the chaos and probably the tempo at one point. There's a lot happening as far as the instrumentation and the range of the vocal performance and the number of people involved in singing. And more than most songs, I think it makes me want to dance. Like it really gets me moving. And we also kind of talked about how it's back and forth, but mostly confident. But she's not afraid to be vulnerable and mention, kind of fleeting or brief or even persistent, like instances of doubt. Which just kind of shows like a little bit of conflict from the narrator. But kind of in spite of that, or because of that, it is still like a party song, I think. Or like a pregame song, because chanting about going out tonight, like getting ready to go out. And the song is it's about downtime. So I have to go fight song. It's very upbeat and very fun, and I would call it a party song.
Yeah, nice. I think I'm totally right there with you. I mean, I was gonna say pregame song, and you said pregame.
Nice.
But I think even the parts that aren't so much of like, oh, we are going out or she is going out. There's other stuff that's like, I'm bad. I'm gonna be okay. I've been under pressure, but I'm not stressed. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a little aggressive and confrontational, and kind of like, a girl power anthem, which a lot of her songs are, especially like some of her earlier stuff. She has a lot of songs that like satisfy that, I don't know, market or like that niche. And it's crazy because I honestly think guys like her music too, because it's like, it just sounds so awesome. Like it's hard not to like it. It's objectively a good song. It's not just for women.
Yeah.
So like I like just about everything I've ever heard by her. But yeah, you're right. It's upbeat and it's fun, and there's like chanting and they're just saying, I'm coming out tonight, I'm coming out tonight. And there's these people echoing and backup singers. So I think it's 100% a party song. It's very celebratory. The music is so like well produced. It's so perfectly in place that it's almost like she was thinking to herself, I have a lot of songs that people play at bachelorette parties or bachelorette weekends. Why stop now? Like, let me just throw another one in there. Like this song just came out by the time we're recording this in, April, like spring of 2022. But for wedding season, this could be the bachelorette weekend anthem. I mean, I'm trying to think where people like Nashville, Austin, Texas, Charleston, South Carolina, those places
everywhere.
Will never be the same because of this song. It's gonna be everywhere.
Yeah, it's gonna be blaring from those cycling buses or whatever they do at the bachelor parties.
Yeah. Dang. But yeah, I still think party songs / fight song.
Yeah, nice. 2 fight songs.
Yeah.
Or 2 for fight song. And this is one that I haven't been so confident about love or fight song decision in several songs in the past several that we've done. Like it would take a lot of convincing, and I probably still wouldn't believe you if you told me this was a love song. But if you think it is, let us know.
Yeah, it's not worth, or it's not that you shouldn't try. It might be fun to try and like pin yourself in that position, but yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this is a fun one. I hope you all like it, and like Em said, let us know if we got it wrong, or let us know if you were at the same shows, Cam, at Bonnaroo and Midtown.
Yeah. I meant to look up the years, but I think it was like Midtown 18 and Bonnaroo 19.
Cool. Whoa.
Not 100% sure on that.
That sounds right. I mean, it probably wasn't either of those in 2020.
But yeah.
So yeah, nice.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for listening and watching.
For real, we
We really
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
Again, thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Of course.
We'll talk to y'all next week.